It is Agatha season now. BD here, welcome to the YouTube channel, and in this video we're going to talk about the first two episodes of Agatha All Along, which are available now. We're going to talk about the good of the episodes, the not so great of the episodes, and at the end of the video we'll give it a rating score out of 10, just to see where we land on the premiere. I also have a video talking about the first four episodes, spoiler free. I've already seen them, so you can go find that on the channel. If you don't mind hitting the subscribe button on the YouTube channel so you don't miss any future videos, and let me know which ones are working the best for you. And let's jump in. We're going to start with the biggest highlights of the Agatha All Along premiere. First of all, for me, that was the end, and I say that in a nice way. I thought the final minutes of Agatha All Along were the most interesting in terms of the first two episodes. That Salem 7 sequence where they're crashing down on the house, action is starting to happen, the witches are chanting, there's a song going, it's cutting back and forth. I thought that was really tense. It seems like there's clearly a formidable threat haunting this whole place, haunting these characters, and I thought that the delivery of that sequence, the directing of it, the whole execution of it was really, really well done. So I think that this whole sequence was spooky, it was fun, and it really captured what Agatha All Along wants to be in the best way, and it was the first time I felt like the show captured that, and it took a full 2 episodes to get there, which we'll get to later. The next big highlight for me is Kathryn Hahn and Aubrey Plaza, especially when they're together. I think that the two of them have great chemistry together. I think it's very intentional that their chemistry is on display. It's clearly playing with the fact that these two might have a history, and it might not be some kind of platonic history. The way they're choking each other on the floor, I don't know, I know there's a portion of the audience that really enjoyed that, but also it just shows that these two have a long-standing history as witches. They have hurt each other, they have helped each other, they have trusted each other, they have broken each other's trust, and I think that that's going to be an interesting place for the show to go as it explores what happened between them in the past, which makes the present very interesting as they navigate a new part of their timeline together. Then I want to shout out how Agatha can just switch on a dime from this charming, charismatic character to that savage, brutal witch in a moment. When she walked out of the house, I thought not only was the show a little crass, and that kind of surprised me in a way that I appreciate they went there, but when she walked out of the house and walked over to her neighbor's house, it was just very rude to him, and we saw Agatha Harkness like the mean old witch that she is, because this woman is hundreds of years old. She is not putting up with anybody's stuff. She's not here to mess around or waste time. She wants to get straight to the point. She doesn't care if she hurts your feelings, and I found that to be very interesting, and it then makes the audience go, oh, this character is underneath that the entire time. So no matter how charming she becomes, no matter how complex or maybe even vulnerable she might get, you have to remember there's a version of Agatha right underneath that's not so friendly. And I think it's going to be really interesting to have that in mind and see which version of Agatha ends up winning out. And hopefully the growth and the arc of the show really has to do with that. I also want to point out that I appreciated that there were WandaVision nods in this. I don't think that they are hugely important. It doesn't feel like you had to see WandaVision to really understand Agatha All Along. I think if the body from the beginning of the show, or the body that the toe tag is on, turns out to be Wanda Maximoff, yes, it could be hugely important, and I kind of hope that that's the case. But so far, there's nothing to indicate that you have to have watched WandaVision in order to understand what's happening in Agatha All Along. But if you did watch WandaVision, you get the extra little dialogue references. You understand these are characters we've seen before. You understand what happened in Westview and why Wanda is a name that nobody wants to say over there. And as a Marvel fan who likes seeing it all be connected, I appreciate that. And speaking of WandaVision, that's in the past. I think Agathas Past is becoming very interesting to me. It's not the number one most interesting thing in the world, but I do think exploring that past, why witches don't like her, why Aubrey Plaza specifically doesn't like her, is going to be something that if the show does it well, could really enrich the character and solidify her as a mainstay in Marvel. That history, the flashbacks, anything we get in the upcoming episodes to inform us on Agatha's family, Agatha's son, Agatha's history, it's really going to be, I think, very fulfilling and enjoyable for Agatha All Along. We got pieces of it in WandaVision. We know she took witches' powers. Clearly we can take that with us into this and then understand that's probably why these witches are reluctant to trust her. But also, there's clearly more to it, and they're setting that up. Getting into the more negative side of it, I think these first 2 episodes could have been 1 episode. Now, that's not a huge drawback. I think the runtimes being 41 minutes with credits as a combined, hour and 22 minutes with two sets of credits, but I do think it could have been paced better if these were just one episode. I think that going around in that second episode and trying to recruit the witches got a little bit redundant, and I actually talked about how I think redundancy is going to be one of the things that bogs down the series quality for me in the middle portion, and I'll talk more about that after episodes 3 and 4. The whole second episode is spent like going from witch to witch, basically assembling the Coven, the Witch Avengers, and each witch very conveniently has some sort of thing that Agatha and Teen can hold over them, which I thought was just like, okay, that's so easy. Okay, so it just so happens this witch opened a skincare line, a candle line, and all of a sudden, you know, she did something wrong, and so now they can expose her for it, and each witch has that same sort of thing. Convenient. Fine, not a deal breaker, but I think assembling the witches could have been a bit more creative than something like that, just sort of one after the next after the next. And the biggest drawback for me is the mystery of Teen. And I have to shout out Rob Keyes from Screen Rant for saying this on Twitter. It seems like it's a Disney Plus gimmick where you have to have some kind of character with some kind of mystery that when we get further down the line, you can reveal it. We already have that with Aubrey Plaza's character. We now have it with this Teen character that has the spell where you can't say his name. Whatever. I'm tired of the mysteries just being obvious and then oftentimes not living up to the hype by the time we get to the payoff. I assume Joe Locke is playing one of Wanda's kids. We all assume this is one of the Young Avengers, and that's probably going to be the case. And now it's so obvious that that's the case that it feels like an expectation. And if that expectation is not met, it's just going to be disappointing. I don't know why we need two simultaneous sort of mystery characters with mystery histories going on at the same time. Maybe they'll be intertwined. So far, Disney Plus Marvel shows have made me apprehensive about caring about those things. Overall, what are you giving Agatha All Along out of 10? Drop it in the comments and let's see how we all agree, disagree, what we think, what we feel about these first two episodes, the premiere of Agatha All Along. Me personally, I'm sitting at about a 7 out of 10. I would say this probably would be closer to a 6 overall for the two episodes combined, if not for the great ending to episode 2 that really hooked me in and made me want to see what's going on down the witch's road. But it did have that great ending. I thought episode 1 was the stronger of the two overall. Episode 2 fell a little bit flat, got a little bit redundant, and was just okay. Catherine Hahn, Aubrey Plaza, Joe Locke, all doing very good jobs. I thought Joe Locke grew on me by the end of episode 2, and I cannot wait to see the Coven interact. As a whole, I think that ensemble nature is going to improve the show and make it more tense, more dramatic, more fun. And I think episodes 3 and 4 are going to prove that. I have more thoughts on those episodes already on the channel, and I want to hear from you what you thought of this episode in the comments. I also want to hear from you, what content do you want on the YouTube channel? Share your thoughts in the comment section, let me know, and please continue to subscribe to the channel so I can get on here and say, whoa, we hit 25,000, and then we'll hit 30, and then we'll hit 50, and then we'll hit 100, and who knows where this will go. But let me know what you want to see because I want to keep getting better at this and having fun with it and having these conversations with everyone. All right, everybody, enjoy Agatha All Along. See you in the next video.